when I think about geography and just natural beauty. It's really hard because there's such a great geographical diversity in all 5 of the countries. Croatia has an extremely long coastline that's absolutely beautiful. I was able to visit there once on an exchange in a city called Rijeka. Just absolutely beautiful to look at the ocean and the Adriatic Sea there. And it was breathtaking because the city is basically, you have the Adriatic Sea here, and then just a little strip of land, and then it goes, basically immediately builds up into a mountainside. And just you have houses and lining this side of this mountain looking into the sea, and it was breathtaking. Some of the other more well-known cities are Zadar, which is on the coast, or Split, which is down on the southern coast, Dubrovnik. All of these are really big tourist attractions just because of the beauty and the history that are in these places. Also in Croatia and Slovenia, kind of northern Croatia and all in Slovenia, is a very mountainous region. Just lots of green hills, just absolutely beautiful to drive through. One of the biggest attractions as a missionary that we got to go to, obviously because we couldn't go swimming, but there's a series of lakes called the Plitvicka. Wow, it's really hard to say in English. Plitvicka lakes, and it's just a series of these lakes and rivers set in this canyon, and it doesn't matter what time of year you go, it's absolutely beautiful. The one time I went, unfortunately it was pouring rain, but we still managed to have some fun and have a good experience there. But it was absolutely breathtaking to see this wonder, this natural wonder. Probably my next favorite place was Bosnia, just because it reminded me more of my home. It was more of rugged mountains. They were still very green, but just more windy roads as you drove through the canyons, sharp mountains. It was an absolutely beautiful place. I served in the city of Sarajevo, which is basically a really long city. On the tram it took about 45 minutes to an hour to go from one end to the other. And it was this really long city set in the valley in between kind of 2 hills or 2 mountainsides. And I can remember the night when I drove in there, it was just magical. I think that's the best way to describe it, is Sarajevo was a magical place. It was my favorite area that I served in. And just, it was beautiful. We had a great apartment kind of up in the hills again, and every night as you'd go to bed, the call to prayer would go off in these different mosques, and you'd just hear it echo from these hundreds of mosques in the valley on the hillside. And it was honestly absolutely peaceful. One of the most peaceful experiences I've had, to just sit and listen to these different voices and different calls to prayer going off. As you go into more eastern Croatia and into Serbia, everything seems to flatten out, and it gets absolutely flat. You can see miles down the road as you're driving, but it still had its own beauty to it. As you drive, I guess for some reason people just like building houses in hills, because you drive along this long stretch of flat road and there'd be a hill and you just see all these houses lining the hill. And just in general, everything over there was beautiful. It was a very beautiful place to serve.
Awesome. Any other things you wanted to say about that? Or?
I'll just talk a little bit about the people in Sarajevo, and that'll probably be it.
Which country was that? Sorry?
Bosnia. Sarajevo, Bosnia.
Sure.
So in Sarajevo, Bosnia, the dominant religion is Islam. And not only was it a magical place geographically, but there was something about the people there. I often attributed it to the fact of just so many wars and disputes over religion that when we as missionaries came as representing another faith, people had kind of the mindset that, you believe what you believe, we believe what we believe, but because we don't want any problems, we'll listen to you. And so it was really neat to see just how open the people in Sarajevo were to at least hearing the message of the gospel and the message of the restoration. I think I taught more first lessons in my time there than I did in any other area of my mission, just because people were so open-minded. Also, they had just their pace of life and their lifestyle was very open. There was a city that ran, or not a city, a river that ran the length of the city, and people would just walk up and down this river, and it was a great place to go and talk to people because they're just on a leisurely walk. You'd say, "Hey, how's your day going?" And instantly you'd have a conversation started with someone, and you could turn it into a gospel discussion very easily. But the people there were just very open-minded. It was a very neat place to serve in because of that. But again, I'm probably a little bit biased, but I think Sarajevo was just an absolutely magical and fantastic place.